So, monkey invasion happening in Punggol, happening in Clementi as well, apparently. But NParks is doing something about it. They're guiding the monkey troop towards forested areas, which is basically where they came from.
Okay, we want to find out all about this endeavor and how fast it can go. Dr. Adrian Liu joins us, Group Director of Wildlife Management at National Parks Board. You must be very busy, Dr. Liu. Lots of monkey business to deal with island-wide.
Yeah, thanks, Jasmine. Arnold, good morning. Yeah,
Good morning.
That keeps us busy.
I know, so from Punggol to Clementi, how exactly does this troop guiding happen?
Yeah, so basically guiding the monkeys is basically conditioning them. Usually we have a few people who have have long sticks, but we tap the ground when we approach the monkeys, and they will view us as like another troop, forming a territory there. So over time, they will learn not to approach that area because it's not their territory anymore. So so we will slowly guide them back to the forest.
It's interesting. It's an interesting method because I thought that somehow food will be involved there. Using food to entice them back to the area, but apparently, food is a no-no.
Yeah, I mean, feeding monkeys usually is a bad idea because they get habituated so fast. Basically the food we eat is already sometimes unhealthy. There's so much carbohydrates. It's sweet. There's a lot of salt, and then they get attracted to this sort of foods, and they've learned how to associate plastic bags with food as well. So once you start feeding them, that's really that's where the problem starts. Yeah.
Dr. Liu, speaking of feeding, Rahim, the guy you just heard moments ago from Punggol East, says he's losing hope because the monkeys in his area are being fed. Have a listen.
They are there to stay. Because I've personally seen foreign workers giving rice. They are leftover rice to the monkeys. This is the problem.
Carbohydrates there, Dr. Liu.
Yeah, so actually feeding, like I say, is a bad idea, and actually it's an offense to feed wildlife. So there is a fine with that. So we usually will give a warning, and then we'll find people who are feeding wildlife. So that's to deter people from feeding, because we understand that downstream there will be so much of these problems.
And can I assume that raising awareness about not feeding wildlife, in particular the monkeys in this situation, is something that you're looking at? I suppose, you're doing it already, but are you trying to raise even more awareness of this as you try and lure them away back to forested areas, the monkeys, I mean?
Yeah, so we will be speaking to the residences there and shopkeepers, because public safety and a sense of safety for the public is very important for us as well. And also, the welfare of the animals. So we do work closely with nature groups, volunteers and academics from universities. We actually part of this thing called a long-tail macaque working group. And we do give regular seminars, and sometimes we go onto the ground to especially targeting residences who might be affected, to give talks on what to do when you encounter a long-tail macaque.
Right.
Their prime motivation is actually food.
Okay, so that's rule number one. Don't feed them. So tell us a little bit about the interaction, how you should be behaving if you do encounter a long-tailed macaque, for example. Yasmin says avoid eye contact. Is that something that you should consider doing?
Yeah, that's actually very correct. So, if you have a troop of monkeys, there will usually be an alpha male or a few adult males. And they don't like the staring game. So, they you just look away, we find. That's one. You just look away, move away, and sort of like take a different path from where they are. And then secondly is, they've already associated plastic bags with food. So if you're carrying a plastic bag, especially try to avoid that troop of monkeys.
Okay. So, is it just plastic bags in general, or is it like pink plastic bags or certain specific colors that attract them as well?
Mainly plastic bags,
Any kind of plastic
bags. Yeah, mainly plastic bags and paper bags,
Dr. Liu, the dude, Rahim, we spoke with, said he's actually pretty scared to let his kids, walk to school by themselves. And children, you can remind them 100 times, right, about how to behave, but they might not remember. So how would you advise kids?
Yeah, so we'll advise kids not the same thing, to avoid the monkey troop. If they're in your way, just take a different path, the monkeys will just move away. The main motivation for the monkeys really is the long-tailed macaque is really food. So if you're carrying food, or plastic bag, that's when they will try to approach you. So I would advise that for the young kids also. Just don't have food on you, and don't carry a plastic bag. If you do, just avoid that troop of monkeys. You'll be fine. Yeah.